Yeah.
I like the beard. Everybody, this is Robert. Robert is a good friend of mine and he recently switched over from iOS to Android. Today I'm doing a Q&A about his experience. He has no idea what I'm going to ask him. We'll see how this goes. How long did you have your iPhone 6 for?
Think my iPhone 6, yeah, so I say iPhone 6 I probably had for about a year. That's right, yeah, I think it was shortly after the 6 was introduced.
Do you consider yourself to be a light, average, or heavy user?
I would definitely just say average. I mean, I don't, consider what I do with my phone to be too important or, rely on it too much.
What are the three main things you use your phone for?
All right, well, I would like to say making phone calls because that's what they're supposed to be used for. Definitely texting, listening to podcasts, and probably connecting or sharing things on social media.
Is this the first Android phone you've ever owned?
This is the first Android product I've ever owned. I don't have any tablets or anything else that is Android based.
Why a Moto X Pure Edition?
Well, the Moto X Pure Edition was mostly a recommendation from you. I also, got to play around with it a bit when you had yours.
Can you go a whole day with your phone without charging?
Just about almost. I can almost go a whole day. I can go a whole work day without charging.
So what time do you typically hook it off the phone or hook it off the charger?
So, I start work around 8. So it gets unhooked shortly before that. By the time I get to work, it's still about at full charge. By the time 3, 4 o'clock comes around, if I've been listening to a podcast consistently throughout the whole day, then it will need a charge. It'll be close to the point that it won't last me the rest of the day.
Even before going home, are you at under 20% already?
No, I would say around 30, reaching 20.
Did your iPhone 6 have about the same battery then, or what was your experience like as far as battery goes?
With the iPhone 6, as far as comparing the batteries, they are somewhat similar. I expected this one to be significantly different. Going into it, I really didn't know what the difference was going to be, but I just expected a change. That's one thing I was actually looking for when I was looking to change the phone. I just expected there to be better battery life out there than there is on the iPhone 6.
What's your favorite feature?
Like software, I guess could be hardware as well.
Hardware, software, like of on the Moto X, everything that it has. What's your what's one thing that you like about that phone that your iPhone hasn't given you?
Well, probably the one that stands out the most is definitely the front-facing speakers. There's a lot of times where I'm listening to something through my phone and I'm using that instead of Bluetooth speakers just because I'm moving around the house from room to room that I can listen to if I place it down somewhere, or if it's actually in my clothing, it'll actually project pretty well through my clothing rather than being at the bottom of the phone, which can easily get muffled, especially when you put your phone in your pocket.
What are your biggest gripes?
I guess my biggest gripe is that when I hook it up to a regular USB charging that's not the is it supercharged?
Turbocharger.
Okay, when I hook it up to a charger that is not the turbocharger, it takes a very long time for it to charge.
How was the learning curve switching from iOS to Android?
The learning curve wasn't as bad as I thought. A lot of people have dealt with the same issues in the past, so it's pretty easy to look up anything that I need to change on my end.
Do you miss the home button on the iPhone 6?
No, I don't miss the home button. I know this one has a virtual home button. That hard home button isn't really, I don't really miss that at all. The only thing I might miss is probably the lock function is a bit different in this phone than it is in the iPhone 6.
And that was actually my next question. What are some things, if any, that iOS had, or an iPhone in general, that your Moto X doesn't?
One thing actually that I took note of when I was on my way over here is the iOS, when you're communicating with other iOS devices, you can actually share your location and someone can track your location, for a predetermined amount of time that you give them. So on my way over here, it would have been nice to share my location with you and have you track, how close I was and how long it was going to get me to actually arrive. But I haven't found that anything similar. I haven't found that function on the Android phone that I have now.
Last question. If you had to pick 3 items off this list that matter to you the most when it comes to buying a phone, what would it be?
3 that are the most.
That three that matter to you the most when it comes to buying a phone.
Price would definitely be one of the most important. After that would be battery and probably sound.
Like I guess I'm wondering, and I'm sure other people are wondering too, if you could do it all over again, would you do it again?
Yeah, I guess I was expecting a bigger increase in my overall user experience. I was expecting everything to be kind of at a heightened level or be improved vastly. But yeah, there are some good changes, and
but nothing like mind blowing, nothing life changing.
Nothing mind blowing. But one thing that I did, one of my coworkers asked me yesterday. He's like, "How are you liking your new Android phone?" And he has an Android phone, so he was just interesting. And I kind of, in my mind, I drew the comparison, and I said the iPhone kind of feels like it's a government issued phone because it's very, it's very plain, nonchalant. It's made for the masses. It's not very customizable, and it kind of just goes with the norm. It doesn't really stray away too far from, what everybody needs in a basic phone. 1, 2, 1, 2, like just 1, 2. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna eat now.
Yeah.
That could be the outro.